Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. Glad you're listening. I hope and pray that things are going all right for you today, that you had a good weekend. Joining me today in the studio, Milan Yerkovich, Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Good to see you and hear you.
Yes.
Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, everyone.
And, of course, phones are already ringing. If you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000. That's phone number 1-800-229-3000. Now, somebody else is in the studio early on, and it is Larry Sonnenberg. Larry, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
As many of you might assume, with COVID and people stuck at home, more people than ever listen to the program, watch the program on television, or wherever they see it, YouTube, anywhere. And we're meeting more needs than ever. It's really just been great to try to work with the COVID reality. But also, Larry, some folks have said that if we can find some other people to help, they want to help us financially. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's pretty special. A group of folks, we had a Zoom call on the weekend, and the gist of it is these folks, just like you said, they want others to join in as they join in. And so they said, let's pool our money together and let's challenge our listeners to match what we are giving.
Yeah.
And they pulled together $459,000.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
Merry Monday.
That means that money is available to us, but not until you give.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you give whatever amount, fill in the blank, $5, $50, $100, $1,000, whatever. That money will then, that same amount will be taken from the fund, and it'll be doubled.
Wow.
Well, and the motivation is the folks that give, they say, look, we want to give, and we want to do more than what we can do individually. So if you can find people to come alongside, here it is. But if you can't, then maybe we shouldn't be giving it. So that's why they put a limit on it. They want other people to come along and make what they've done even bigger and bolder, and we couldn't use it better than any other time right now.
You know, this is a great time for the first-time investor, the first-time giver, the first-time donor to jump in. Because if many people out there are thinking, well, I should. I know this is a listener-supported radio. I should. But they haven't quite made the move yet. But this would be a perfect time to do it, to jump in and double their efforts.
Right.
And let me just go over how many times we've ever had this much money to match. Never. It's just amazing.
Oh,
Larry, what do you think?
That's a pretty big one.
It's huge.
Well, a couple things. One, we want to get this done by May 31.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So there's some time, but it's going to come quick. So we need you to start it off now. But what's happening is when we get a call at the call center and somebody's depressed, maybe threatening suicide, we can do this and do it more because you're giving. If a woman calls and says, my husband's stuck on porn, what do I do? We can tell her and help her because you're giving. You know, it just goes on and on. Think of all the situations. Think of the stories you have heard. There'll be more coming up. Don't have time this minute. But when people's lives are changed, it's because you have been giving. And we can put the radio program on. We can do the workshops. We can help you with a counselor. There's all these things that we do. And lives are changed. So that's why we want you to participate in this.
1-800-NEW-LIFE if you can help, and our amazingly sincere, astounding gratitude
Amen.
to those folks
Wow.
who made this possible.
Absolutely.
We'll be back after this.
Wow.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. We weren't just blessed financially. We were blessed with a brand new chief operating officer. Dave Thornton is with us, and oh my goodness, it's just a dream come true to have somebody of his caliber in the organization and looking to build toward a great future. So we're glad about that too, and thanks to all of you who support us. I'm going to go to our phone calls here at 1-800-229-3000, and let's go. How about we talk to Diane from Boston, Massachusetts? She listens online. Hi, Diane. How are you today?
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi. Oh, I'm thrilled to be talking to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I am calling because I had a question about one of our kids. We have a daughter who's 28 who has been married about a year and a half. And 3 months into their marriage, she had a medical crisis and was diagnosed with lymphoma. And she's gone through the chemo, and she's in remission now. But she just separated from her husband, citing a lack of connection. And we also think there may be some trauma from her chemo because she's remembering things that happened during chemo now. But my question would be, I just in general, how do we help? I'm not really sure what to do. I'm pretty distraught, and it's really a tough one.
That's got to be tough. The stress of the chemo and then bringing on the separation. Jill, why don't you get us started here? What are you thinking?
Well, Diane, I'm so sorry to hear this. It's never easy as a parent to watch your kids suffer, and you feel so helpless because they often don't want the intervention. This hasn't happened over a very long period of time, really. When you say they've only been married a year and a half, and 3 months in she had her diagnosis. And so is she, how long was the chemo treatment?
It was several months, less than a year,
maybe
8 months. I'm not really sure.
Okay, because one of the things, we always encourage people when you're depressed, when you've gone through something major, you don't make permanent decisions during that time.
Yeah,
you really want to let the dust settle and see if how you're feeling is consistent over time, because it is really common to have reactions to things, and lots of people. Going through a diagnosis like this at such a young age, that is really traumatic. And the treatments can be very invasive and also, throw your body off in a lot of ways. And so there's so many variables to this. I'm wondering if your daughter has gotten any counseling during this process?
She does have a counselor who she likes very much. I'm not sure that it's a Christian counselor, and I'm really not sure what the advice is from the counselor. Really not positive.
Right.
How good it is.
Right. And what's your relationship like with her husband?
we have a great relationship with him. We love him. And he's a wonderful man. And so we are connected with him. We are communicating, and we're trying to help each of them.
Yeah, because I think he definitely needs to get into some help as well, to understand his role in all of this, because this may also have been something that's been brewing, maybe even his reaction to her diagnosis and her expectations of that. There's a lot to this.
Well, I want to just piggyback on what you said, Jill. If I were you, Diane, I would be saying to my daughter, oh, wow, this is hard. I just can't imagine how hard this is, and I'll help you any way I can, but I'd like you to just be willing to do one thing, and that is to slow down a little bit. Because and that's all I would say. I wouldn't say call off the separation. I wouldn't say you need to get into counseling. I would just say you've gone through the trauma of illness and the trauma of chemo, and it cannot help, and you did it during COVID, and it cannot help but have an impact on every part of your life. And so all I'm asking you as your mom is to just take it at a slower pace. And I might even add this.
Great.
I might even add this, because you never know what might have happened, what she might have run into. Someone might have she might be attracted to somebody. You just don't know. So I would just say, when somebody goes through chemo, their values, their defensives, all of this stuff is impacted. And I just want to be sure that when you look back, you're saying, well, I took my time and I made a really good decision. And hopefully that kind of approach would get her to just slow her down a little bit. Milan, you have a thought here?
Diane, I have a couple of thoughts. And I agree with everything Jill and Steve said. I'm going to add an additional layer here and say that stress is the great exposer. Stress exposes who and what we are. It exposes the core of us. Now, couples and individuals often perform at their worst levels or their least effective levels when they're under stress, and that's when a lot of couples really get into trouble. So at some level, the stress has been a great exposer to expose something. Now, I have another question.
Okay.
Well, it has exposed their feelings and reactions. Your daughter's complaint is he wasn't emotionally connected enough, and so I can't tolerate that, and I'm leaving. So the second question I have is, how reactive has your daughter been throughout her life to people, closeness, distance? Has she previously ever been reactive toward people in the past?
So, great question. Good question. She loves to be. She's the kind of person who wants to be with people. It doesn't like to be alone. I'm not sure about reactivity, but maybe she does have highs and lows. She gets frustrated with herself at her, say, lack of time management and all the other ADHD things that our family has. Reactive, I'm not exactly sure.
Well, she's highly reactive here. She's saying you weren't close enough to me, and that fits in line with her not wanting to be alone. You see, you just said she likes to be with people. Now, at some level, she doesn't perhaps see her husband's reaction that he may have been completely overwhelmed by it all.
Right.
That's right.
And caring very much, but
caring,
frozen.
but perhaps frozen, Jill, and perhaps he came from a family that didn't know how to comfort people. Who he perhaps himself.
Exactly him. Yeah.
Okay.
We're helping him out with resources for that.
Okay, so he comes
Great.
from a home where he was never comforted, so he's not going to know how. So it's a perfect storm then for their marriage. Now, I'd like
Well,
to
and can I just add in with the ADHD piece, they're often very impulsive.
highly impulsive.
Right, which is why, okay,
Yeah.
now I need to separate.
Yeah.
Right, this doesn't feel
Yeah.
good, I'm going to move away from it.
Yeah, he's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to we as a couple have a core pattern that's beaten us both up.
Mm-hmm.
And we both have deficiencies.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So here's my recommendation. They need to be in couples counseling as opposed to individual counseling where the counselor only, and I'm not saying to remove that, but I'm saying add a couples counselor, because often an individual counselor only hears one person's perspective on the relationship.
Right. Mm-hmm.
A marriage counselor that specializes in couples and understands the historical drivers in each one of the people and can help them get to a place where they understand that, can see both sides of the equation and see both sides of the marriage and really help both of them learn to solve this problem together.
Oh, that'd be lovely. I would
Okay,
love that.
now I want to add something to my suggestion of what to say with her. In a separate conversation from going slowly, in a separate conversation in a week or whatever, you might want to suggest to her that you are aware of how hard this was on him to marry you, and all of a sudden now his wife has this horrific cancer, now chemotherapy, and like many men, he was in survival mode. It's really sad that that's what some of us have to do, but he's there for you. He cares about you and he loves you. Just the fact that he went into survival mode, he didn't know what to do with this, and he wasn't cared for. But
Right.
I just want you to try to think of him as emotionally impacted as you were, but he just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Give her a different
Or, like, has she
perspective.
considered that?
Yeah, right. Have you thought about it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will ask her that. That's a great question.
And if you could share with her how you dealt with it, whether it was negative or positive. If you said, I cried for days, or you said, you know what, I just couldn't even talk about, here's how I dealt with it. And if it's a little bit weird, then all the better there. I'm glad you called, and I'm going to send Milan and Kay's book, How We Love. I think it'll give you some great insight there, and I'm really glad that you called. Anybody want to join us? We'll be here 2 hours. That's 1-800-229-3000. Let's go to Rita from McKinney, Texas. KWRD, that's the station. Hi there. How are you today?
I'm good. First, I just want to say that y'all are such a blessing, and I've given off and on to the ministry, but I was just really led to become a monthly member a few weeks ago, and because y'all are doing such, you're just helping so many people, and it's just such a blessing. So I do appreciate it, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a situation. I lost my dad back in January. He was in a rehab center just to get better from breaking his leg, and he got COVID and passed away unexpectedly.
So sorry.
And, thank you. And I was dating somebody at the time, and there was a bunch of red flags, but I was afraid, to make a move because my emotions were all over the place. But I went ahead and broke it off because the red flags were just too intense. And then a few weeks after that, I met somebody, and we were talking, and he seems like a really dedicated Christian man, and we have a lot in common. But then a few weeks after we started dating, his mom got sick. She ended up in the hospital, and she ended up passing away. And so my question is, how do I navigate? I'm going through grief because I lost my dad, and it was really hard. And now he's lost his mom, and the funeral was a couple weeks ago, but now he's back out of town for her burial. And, he'll disappear for a couple days, and I understand, and I leave him alone. But I don't know if that's what to do. I don't know how. I mean, can I have a conversation with him saying, hey, I need some comfort here. I'm grieving too, and I don't know how to help him. Do I back off, give him space, or do I, contact him? How are you doing?
I've got a thought for you. Okay, we'll talk about it at the break, and we'll come back. We'll try to give you some really good advice here. I'm sorry for what you're going through. 1-800-NEW-LIFE, if you could help us out, that's the number. Also, it's the number if you need to get some help. We've got Every Man's Battle coming up. Milan and I are doing our intensive Intimacy and Marriage in July, Washington, D.C. We would sure love for you to show up for that. We'll be in person. We'll be really careful, but we'll be in person. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Attention Deficit Disorder and Understanding and Loving a Person with Sexual Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here with Milan Yerkovich, author of How We Love. Dr. Jill Hubbard, one of the great books, Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers, The Secrets Women Keep. We're talking with Rita. Rita, we got a couple of options. Rita. A couple of options and maybe even more. But one option is that if you feel like you have to be there for him in addition to the grief you're going through, but he is unable, because this is so traumatic or hurtful, the loss of his mom, and he's unable to be there for you, it just may be you've got nothing coming in. You might have double going out in grief and all and taken care of. You might not reject him, but just say, maybe we need to take a break. That's one option to consider. Jill, you've got some different thoughts.
Right. So then another option, Rita, would be, I mean, certainly it's understandable if he just buried her this weekend, that he's out of sorts. But to have a conversation about grief and about how you each grieve. You just lost your dad. He just lost his mom. What does grief look like for you? How do you respond to that? What are you needing in that? And what is it like for him? What does it make him want to do? Does it make him, these are the things you've observed about him. And what is he needing in during this time. And you guys both have a parallel process that's going on while being in relationship. I mean, this is separate. You both have your own, legitimate grief process to be going through. And so how do you each see navigating that either separately or together?
Okay. So it's a conversation with him. Milan, your thoughts on this for her?
Well, Rita, I'm so sorry about the loss of your dad.
Yeah.
And you're under a lot of stress. But let's just talk about you and this gentleman. What you're also in here inadvertently is a discovery stage of each other. Who are you? What do you do? And going back to our first call with Diane in Boston, what happens to people when they're under stress? And certainly death and dying and loss is a fundamental source of stress for all of us. And so you have a need to be comforted. Some people run from pain and they want to avoid it. And as Jill said earlier, sometimes people freeze and they go into a state of inactivity. Although I would also have to say everybody needs a little space to work things out in their own head. We all need to have some alone time. But
some people cocoon and they keep people out.
That is a great point. See, some people isolate too much, or we think they need it, so we give them too much space. So there's a blend between what Steve was saying of backing off a bit and what Jill is saying. And I would start a dialogue, as Jill is suggesting, and saying, we both just lost parents here within a few months of each other, and we each have needs. Do you want to talk about it? What are you going through? What am I going through? And then take a feeling word list and hand it to him and say, could you tell me a feeling you're feeling so I can support you? Or do you even want me to support you? This is sort of a litmus test of relationship here.
Right.
And it's a discovery, and to see where is it. And listen, Rita, I heard clearly he's a nice Christian man that you said at the beginning of the call. But that doesn't mean he knows how to emotionally engage with someone. He's saved. That's all we know. He's saved.
Yeah.
He's going to heaven. But it doesn't mean he knows how to have a conversation.
And
but you
what
could
was
learn
his relationship like with his mom, right?
Or previous relationships.
Right. What is unresolved there?
Yeah.
Did she die with them on good terms? Sorry, Steve.
Well, just ask him, like in the conversation, what was that like? And were there things that were unresolved? But here's a headline for you to consider, Rita. You both are grieving, but only one of you wants to talk about what you're going through, and that's you. And that's something that you want him to do. Now, maybe it's too soon you want him to do it, but next week or week after, if you're the only one that wants to talk about this horrible reality, then that tells you something about future conflicts that come up, future emotional dilemmas coming up.
Also, before his mother died, how was he towards you in regards to your father dying? Before he had a crisis and a loss.
Great point, Jill.
Right? Was he able to comfort? Would he lean into you? Would he let you talk about your dad?
Well, yeah. And also, I would never want to totally evaluate somebody based on how they handle the loss of their mother.
Right.
There's just so many things with that. But I'll tell you, I was just with my good friend Jim Burns, and we were talking about Dave Stoop. And, I'm up, I'm talking, I'm active. But I could not talk about Dave without breaking into tears in front of Jim. So a lot of us guys, we got a lot of stuff going on. Don't really know what to do with it. Eventually it comes out. Eventually. I would be patient with him. I would be asking him. And then you'll be better off to make the decision you need to make. We'll take a break, and we'll come right back after this.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, June 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You are a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here, 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need some help. Today on Going Deeper, we're going to start a new series called The Soul of a Hero. And it's all about the last book that I wrote with Dave. Comes out in June, The Soul of a Hero. Talking about being a hero without having to look for desperate people who need rescuing all the time. That's not necessarily always a hero. For your gift of any amount, which gets matched, by the way, we'll send you the book we talked about earlier this month, Creatures of Habit. It's all about the habits beneath the habits and the addictions like lust, anger, those kinds of things, greed, workaholism, all of that. So please, if you can help us do 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let's go back to the phones. How about we talk with Bobby from San Antonio, Texas. Hey, Bobby, how are you? How's it going?
Hey, Steve. Hey, Steve. Hey, Jill. Hey, Milan. How are you?
Hey.
You're doing all right.
Thanks for calling.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Hey, I have a two-part question.
Okay.
One is I moved to San Antonio about a year ago, and we've recovery over the years, and I can't find a life recovery group, so we'd like to start one in San Antonio area.
Awesome.
Me, my wife, and our very good friend Lynn all have a lot of codependency groups, sexual addiction groups. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And I was a CR ministry lead and a training coach at another church at one time. I've been sober for 15 years, and I'm also an EMB grad from 2011.
Great.
Super.
Great.
That's my first question. And Milan, we've also been to your guys' house, and Kay gave us our How We Love stuff and taught people on how we love too.
Cool.
In Sunday school class and small groups. So with
Nice.
that background, I have my second part of my question because we just love you guys. My second part of my question is I've got the opportunity right now. This is where I need help at. I'm working at a college in a fully different career because I have other expertise. And with that, I can get schooling right now literally for free. And I would like to, I'm not certain I want to go down the road of getting a degree in psychology like Jill has, I believe, or like you, Milan, have the theology degree, or Steve's got his business theology degrees. But I'm kind of stuck there wondering what I need to do at 56 years old. It's almost a third career. And I guess my ultimate goal, if I really threw it out there and really threw myself under the bus right now, would be to be one of the EMB counselors in the next few years, if there was an opportunity at some point. So that's truly what I love. And so that's where I'm kind of stuck in the life recovery groups.
With the Association of Christian Counselors, Dave and I did the Life Recovery Institute, and there are hours of courses to help you coach and counsel in recovery better. Right now, Dave and I but I'll finish it. We're starting an addiction institute with Indiana Wesleyan University. So those are just classes. They're not degrees, but they'll help you. Becoming a recovery pastor, it seems like might be a really good thing for you if you don't want to get licensed and certified. Jill, Milan, what are your thoughts here?
I would suggest that you get licensed and certified, or licensed, because if you're licensed and you have somebody paying for your education or helping out with that, to be able to, what's really needed in I believe the Christian community and the Christian world are people who are well educated in both secular, psychological, and theological educations that helps to balance them out. A lot of pastors are not trained in any psychological or counseling skills, and then a lot of therapists are not trained in theology. And so one of the nice things about our staff here at New Life is everybody has a blend of those two things. So I would, and then I'm going to crash a little barrier here. You also have to ask yourself financially, as a therapist, that's something you can do for a very long time. At 56, you have quite a few years ahead of you, and as a vocation or as an income, it's also something that if you have a license, you can earn an income with it. So I think financially a lot too.
Well, and if you think about it, if you're wanting to learn, you love all of this and you want to learn more, I mean, I think certainly the things that Steve mentioned are, a good way to go about things. John Townsend also has the Townsend Institute through Concordia, which will lead to a master's level degree. And, when I went to school, I just said, I'm going to take it a semester at a time. And I just kept going because life is going to pass anyway. And I liked what I was learning. And you know what? It eventually amounted to something. And I'm so grateful.
Sure did. Yeah.
And even if you decide halfway through, no, I don't think I'm going to do this, you've still gained a lot.
Right. Absolutely, Jill.
Right?
So I hope that's helpful to you, Bobby. As to the first part of your question, I want you to hold on because we've got folks that are committed to helping folks just like you to start a life recovery group wherever it is. We have a beginner's kit and all of that, and so we'll tell you all about that. Anybody wanting to start a life recovery group, the good thing about life recovery is it can take on the flavor that you want it to. It's an autonomous group. It's not controlled by the mothership or anything like that, and we'll help you any way we possibly can. You can find out about that at 1-800-NEW Life, 1-800-NEWLIFE. Let's go to, how about we talk to Deborah, Sacramento, California. Hi, Deborah. How are you today? What's going on?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Good.
I'm calling because I have something that I have a question about, and it just occurred to me recently that it's probably something I've struggled with for a while. Been married quite a while, over 40 years, and I was very, very young when I got married, and I think I felt pressured to get married for a lot of different reasons. And from all these years, we've stayed married, and we've had a lot of challenges with our family, and I think I wasn't really realizing, but I think I go back to a lot of times that when we have a problem that I think, you know what, I didn't really choose this. I was pressured into getting married. And I feel that that's don't feel that's healthy at all. And
Mm-hmm.
it just occurred to me that that's probably what I've been doing. How do I change that so that I can have a good, settled attitude about this and look at it from God's perspective instead of going back so many years and struggling with that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. I'll turn this over. I'll have Milan give it a shot after me. But, you didn't choose. You got pressured. Now you are. A counselor could help you choose to be married today. A counselor could help you grieve that pressuring, grieve all that you lost, and help you work through that, accept your situation. And then you could freely, as an adult woman, say, today I'm choosing this marriage. Doesn't matter what I did before, how I got here, but I would hope that would be the way it would go, that you would choose it. Milan, you've got probably some deeper thoughts than that. Your thoughts are always deeper than mine. But what are you thinking here?
Deborah, I'm very impressed with your question. And I really like that you've been able to self-reflect and say, what's up with this? Why do I feel this way? And how can I get over this? And really what you have here is you have a tension and a battle between ideal and reality. Somehow when you are hit with difficulty, you're thinking, hey, I didn't sign up for this. And then you link it back to, I felt some pressure when I was a young woman to say I do because everybody else is getting married, blah, blah. And so this battle or this tension between ideal and reality, had you not been pressured, had you jumped into that marriage full-fledged and all in, you'd still have all these realities that you're dealing with right now. And relationship is to sign up for difficulties, but we're going to do it together or I'll have to deal with difficulties alone. But all relationships have challenges, and with your kids, you're going to have challenges. We still got them. We got 4 grown kids and their spouses and 10 grandkids. And guess what? There's challenges all the way up and down the line. So I really want you to be thinking, you're still thinking ideally, and had I done the right thing, not been pressured, things would be better, which is to impose a fantasy world over what you think life should be. And so fantasy versus reality is really
and it keeps you
the
from
key.
owning your choices.
That's right.
Right? Because that saying, this isn't what I signed up for, is a lack of embracing what you actually did passively.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to send you Take Your Life. Go ahead.
Well, I'll say it after the break.
Yeah. I want her to be the decider in her life.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle Workshop will be held online May 1st. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Depression and Understanding and Loving a Person with Alcohol and Drug Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Talking with Deborah here, and Milan, you had something that you were not able to finish before the break.
Just Jill and I were talking about how we have these dreams about what we think relationship is going to provide for us and what it's going to yield. And when we are fantasizing and dreaming about future love and relationship, we don't fantasize problems interweaved with that.
No, it's almost like it's the answer to having no problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This person is going to deliver me from my problems.
Mm-hmm.
And when they don't, right, then it's, well, I felt pressured to get married. This isn't really what I signed up for because, like you were saying, it doesn't match that picture. And we're so disappointed, right? Deborah, I mean, that's a huge disappointment to have life to not have gone the way you had hoped it had gone. But I think you absolve yourself of any responsibility in this by saying, I didn't sign up for that. And it keeps you in a more helpless, passive place. Instead of, a lot of people, many people do not marry for the right reasons, or it's not what they expected. But every day you have to wake up and choose your spouse, and you have to find new reasons to be married, right?
Because or for the first time, she could wake up and choose her spouse.
You have to embrace today moving forward and say, okay, I'm owning this today. I did walk down the aisle. I did say I do, whether I felt pressured or not. Now, that's something you can work on, is why do I allow myself to go into that passive place and get pressured?
Yeah. And, one of the things I've talked about here, and I was just talking to a therapist the other day about this, is that sometimes we land on a fatal excuse. And what I mean by that is it kills opportunity, or it kills intimacy. And your fatal excuse has been, I was pressured into marriage. And when you give that excuse up, when you don't use that as a reason or a defense or an excuse, now it's time to dig in and become signs up for the difficulty that comes in this world. And the Bible says, do not be surprised when you face these fiery trials. They're coming. So I'm going to send you, take your life. Are you okay? Does that make sense?
Oh, completely. In fact, I'm amazed how you really did answer what I was asking. Yeah, I just grieve it and move on and see it as God's hand, whatever, and look for the good. But I just felt like even bringing it up could maybe help me to put it aside once and for all.
I like that.
And I would share all this with your husband and talk about it and say, what have you felt from me? When I say I didn't sign up for this, what did that make you feel like as my spouse?
Right.
Maybe we don't know, but I would ask him.
Yeah, and it's grieving and not moving on. It's grieving and moving in, or digging in.
Good point,
to the relationship with him in a way that you haven't. And I got to tell you, if the relationship's been going pretty well, just imagine how well it's going to go when you have this change of heart. Speaking of hearts, I'm glad that Larry's is still beating, and it's right here in the studio. Larry, you were on earlier. You're talking about the matching fund, and we really want to be sure people understand that this is a time-limited thing. We want to do this by May the 31st to match this almost $500,000. So what do you want to share with us?
$459,000. And what I wanted to show I was thinking of this caller you were saying. One of the ladies that participated in this pooled fund when she called to tell me what she was going to do, she said, it was because of your radio program that I have been able to make it through my 43-year marriage. Because there are times where you just don't know. And there's times where she said, I know divorce wasn't an option. But you guys fed into me, and you helped me, and you were the voice that told me the things I had to do to keep going.
I love hearing that.
And we can do that, folks, because of your giving.
Yeah.
It's this radio program, Milan, is a big reminder always. It costs money. But what happens, and I want to read a quick testimony. Maybe not as quick as you'd like, but here we go. And I picked this because it's one of the best testimonies I've read before, and it really speaks to the heart of what this program does. Your ministry keeps me from walking around with a basket full of tears, from huddling in my bed in a fetal position, from lashing out at my kids with anger. Your ministry is literally my lifeline right now in the pain and suffering, a lifeline to God's Word, a lifeline to God. Your job is literally keeping people sane and functioning during extreme hardship and crisis and sadness and loss. Your job is saving people's lives. New Life is saving people's lives. Maybe not like a medical doctor, but spiritual and mental. You're helping me save my life from where I could go to where I need to go. I think that says it all, folks, and your giving does that. And when you give now, you'll release that same amount of money from this pooled fund. And we don't want to lose, we don't want to be jeopardized by not using all of that money and seeing it go to waste. We want you to release that funds in total to us.
And when Larry said, and Milan costs a lot of money, he didn't mean Milan costs a lot of money. Milan often shares with you and us that this radio broadcast costs
that is
a lot
a matter
of
of perspective right there. I mean, others
might say that.
Others might think differently on that, Steve.
That is true. But it's really expensive, and we love doing the intensives and the workshop, but the radio program is our biggest ministry, and there's just some new insight into how fortunate we are to be on Christian radio, because as the media out there edit and eliminate things of Christian values, we're glad to be on a safe place where we know we can say what we want to say and stay on. So if you can help us, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Larry, yes, go ahead.
I just want to say, I want to kind of give a shout out to our call center and staff there. Because when you call for help and you call and want to know what to do, they're equipped to do that. And that costs money. And but the things that they do is take people from their feelings of anxiety, depression, fear, grief, whatever it is, and give them tools, give them direction, give them help and hope. And that doesn't happen without money. But it happens, and God's Holy Spirit steps in and does a lot of work. But we point them in the direction, they take steps, and lives are forever changed. And so that's what your giving is going to do. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Larry. Appreciate that. 1-800-NEW-LIFE, if you could help us with this matching fund. And then if you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We really do want to help you. Now, our next intensive, it's online. That's going to be Every Man's Battle. And that's coming up on May the 1st, right around the corner. Then we do Restore in person. The women come in for Restore in Dallas on the 25th of June. And Intimacy in Marriage also. Trying to get back in with folks. We're going to be very careful. July 23rd in Washington, D.C. And we'll tell you more about emotional freedom coming up. Don't forget that we do another broadcast. It's called Life Recovery Today. It's on the NRB television network. We love that. And that space was given to us by the NRB network. And it's all about how to implement the principles and the concepts of recovery into everyday life. And then, of course, Going Deeper, 5 o'clock, the podcast, every day, 5 o'clock Eastern. We love you. We care about you. And we want things, here's the standard, to be better. Better. So what do you need to do to get to better? If you need some help with that, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.